The day began like any other. Across the world, people went about their routines. Children walked to school, workers hurried through crowded streets, and families enjoyed their morning coffee. Life on Earth had always been ordinary in its own way, yet far beyond the clouds and stars, something unusual was happening. Something that would shake the very core of humanity's understanding of the universe. High above, in the vast emptiness of space, an array of sensors and probes monitored distant worlds and interstellar activity. Most of this was routine. Now and then, probes picked up signals from other civilizations, but they were usually benign scientific transmissions, peaceful greetings, or simple curiosity. Nothing alarming, nothing threatening. Until today, a small, unassuming probe, launched decades ago to monitor the outer regions of the solar system, had detected a pattern unlike any other. It wasn't random movement. It wasn't natural phenomena. It was deliberate, calculated, and it was heading straight for Earth. The signal arrived at the Galactic Council, the governing body responsible for maintaining peace among countless civilizations. The council was made up of representatives from some of the most advanced species in the galaxy, each with their own experience in diplomacy, war, and strategy. Normally, they handled disputes, trade agreements, and interstellar regulations. But this was different. The data showed thousands of ships, massive in scale, traveling faster than anything the Council had ever seen. They moved with precision, forming coordinated patterns across multiple sectors of space. At first, the Council members assumed there must be a mistake. Perhaps the probe had misread the data. Perhaps it was a glitch. But as more arrays confirmed the trajectory, doubt turned into concern, and concern turned into alarm. For hours, the Council debated quietly, their discussions measured and calm, yet the tension in the chamber was palpable. Are they really heading for Earth? One of the members asked, their voice betraying a hint of disbelief. Everything indicates they are, another replied. And if the trajectory remains unchanged, they will reach Earth within days. A stunned silence followed. Some council members leaned back, trying to process the information. Others tapped at their consoles, cross-referencing centuries of historical data. In all their records, no species had ever attempted a direct invasion of humanity. Not once. And humanity, despite being younger than many civilizations, had a reputation for being unpredictable, resilient, and remarkably resourceful. Yet here they were, moving with intent toward a world that many considered a minor player in galactic politics. It didn't make sense. Why would anyone risk so much to invade Earth? And more importantly, what did they hope to achieve? Meanwhile, on Earth, none of this was immediately visible to ordinary people. Life continued as usual. Satellites passed silently overhead, unnoticed. Scientists monitored space with professional curiosity, unaware that the very fabric of their understanding of the universe was about to be tested in government and military facilities. However, things were different. Certain intelligence networks, accustomed to monitoring extraterrestrial activity, picked up the unusual readings almost immediately. Alerts were sent through secure channels, analyzed, and verified. Within hours, a consensus formed. Earth was facing a threat unlike any in recorded history. What set humanity apart, and what would ultimately save it, was the reaction that followed. Unlike many species, which might have panicked, attempted to flee, or called for immediate intervention from allies, humans responded with a calm, methodical determination. Military command centers activated protocols that had been dormant for decades. Plans long prepared for unlikely scenarios suddenly put into motion. Emergency communication networks linked governments, military units, and scientific organizations. Civilian networks were quietly reinforced to ensure stability. Hospitals, transportation systems, and energy grids were monitored and adjusted to prepare for potential disruptions. Every individual was given instructions, carefully coordinated to prevent chaos, yet designed to maximize readiness. To the Council, and to any observers from other civilizations, Earth's reaction was remarkable. There was no panic, no mass evacuations, no signs of fear spreading through the population. Instead, there was a quiet, almost eerie sense of unity and focus. Humans were preparing for something they did not fully understand, yet their resolve was undeniable. At the same time, diplomats and scientists worked tirelessly to analyze the incoming threat. Who were these invaders? What technology did they possess? What was their strategy? Every hypothesis was considered, every possibility debated. But the data was limited, and the unknown always brought unease. For the invaders themselves, if they were watching, it would have been easy to underestimate humanity. From a distance, Earth seemed like just another planet, a minor presence in a vast galaxy. They might have assumed that resistance would be minimal, that the inhabitants would surrender or scatter at the first sign of overwhelming force. They were about to learn, very quickly, that assumptions about humans were dangerous. Inside military command centers, teams worked around the clock. Simulations were run, strategies devised, and contingencies prepared. Every possible scenario was considered, from small-scale attacks to full-scale orbital bombardments. Communications specialists tested secure channels, ensuring that even in the worst-case scenarios, orders could be transmitted effectively. But it wasn't just about technology or strategy. There was also an understanding that humanity's strength lay in its people, their creativity, adaptability, and willingness to endure. Leaders reminded themselves that history had shown humans could achieve extraordinary feats when faced with existential threats. They had rebuilt cities after disasters, explored the deepest oceans and the edges of space, and had survived conflicts that seemed impossible to overcome. And now, humanity was about to face something even greater. As the hours passed, Council representatives watched with growing astonishment. Every alert from Earth's orbit and surface indicated preparation, but not panic. The global population was not cowering. They were not fleeing. Instead, humans moved with purpose, ready to protect their planet and one another. Some members of the Council began to murmur among themselves. Why are they so calm? One asked. Do they even understand the scale of what is coming? They understand more than we do, another replied. Their calm is not ignorance. It is a sign of awareness and determination. They are ready. The probe data continued to arrive, showing the approaching fleet. Ships of incredible size and power, equipped with weapons capable of planetary destruction, were coming closer by the hour. To the untrained eye, this should have caused panic. But Earth remained composed. In scientific institutions, researchers tracked the trajectory, calculated the speed, and analyzed potential weaknesses. They shared information with military strategists, ensuring that every decision was informed by data. Engineers and programmers worked tirelessly to optimize defense systems, while logistics teams prepared the movement of critical resources. Across the planet, ordinary people contributed in ways they could. Some volunteered in emergency services. Others assisted in communication and coordination efforts, and many simply followed instructions, keeping calm and supporting their communities. Every action, no matter how small, became part of a larger, unified effort. It was not chaos that defined humanity in this moment. It was cooperation. Not fear, but focus. Not despair, but determination. And while the Council observed in awe, the first transmissions from the invaders reached Earth. They were brief, formal, and tinged with arrogance. Commands were issued. Warnings were given. There was no question in the invaders' messages that they expected compliance. They assumed submission, just as countless other species had done in the past. What they could not see, what they could not understand from their distant perspective, was the strength that lay beneath humanity's calm exterior. They did not yet know that this planet, often underestimated, was prepared in ways that even the most advanced civilizations had difficulty imagining. And so, as the day wore on, a quiet tension settled across both Earth and the Council. The first part of this unprecedented event was ending. Humanity had received its warning. The galaxy had watched, stunned. And the people of Earth, unaware of the full scale of what lay ahead, continued to prepare, focused and resolute, as their world braced for a test that could define the future of life itself. The probe data continued to update in real time. Ships were coming. The Council whispered among themselves, astonished and fearful. And on Earth, life went on, children laughing, cities bustling, and humans quietly demonstrating that in the face of unimaginable uncertainty, their unity and courage were a force unlike any other. No one yet knew what would happen next. But one thing was certain. The calm, determined response of humanity was already changing the way the galaxy viewed this small blue planet. They were not just another species. They were Earth, and they were ready. The morning after the warning arrived, the world was already changing in ways most people could not see. On the surface, life went on as usual. Streets were busy, offices opened, and schools continued their routines. But beneath this ordinary rhythm, the machinery of preparation was in motion. Governments, scientists, and military units were quietly synchronizing efforts on a scale never attempted before. For humans, responding to danger had always been about adaptation. When faced with natural disasters, pandemics, or conflicts, communities had a way of coming together. That instinct, refined over centuries, was now being tested on a galactic scale. Military planners coordinated with scientists to track the approaching fleet, calculate trajectories, and determine potential strategies. Every decision was analyzed, double-checked, and prepared with care. Unlike many civilizations, humans did not panic. There was no mass flight into shelters or chaos in the streets. Instead, there was action. Governments issued calm, clear instructions, focusing on coordination rather than fear. Communications teams ensured that every message reached local leaders, emergency services, and community centers. Hospitals were readied, power grids secured, and transportation networks optimized to prevent disruption. In research centers, scientists worked tirelessly, monitoring signals from space. They studied the invaders' movements, their speed, and their patterns. Every anomaly was noted, every possible threat assessed. Engineers designed countermeasures, while programmers refined systems to respond automatically to attacks. It was an all-encompassing effort, one that combined intelligence, technology, and human determination. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens played their part in ways both small and meaningful. Volunteers helped organize resources in communities, ensuring that supplies reached those in need. Teachers, parents, and neighbors encouraged calm, explaining to children that preparation was important, but panic was not. People went about their routines, but with an added awareness, watching the skies, listening to news updates, and quietly helping however they could. This calm, coordinated effort did not go unnoticed. Alien observers, hidden in distant orbits, began to see something unusual. Most species, when faced with a threat of this magnitude, reacted with fear, aggression, or chaos. Humans were different. They were focused. They were united. The aliens could not understand the depth of this preparation, and for the first time, doubt began to appear in their ranks. The Council, still watching from their distant chambers, marveled at humanity's reaction. They had expected panic. They had expected a scramble, a fight to flee, or a desperate call for assistance. Instead, humans acted with a quiet intelligence, combining caution with resolve. The council members whispered among themselves, trying to make sense of it. "They are calm yet ready," one member said quietly. "It is unlike anything we have seen before." "They understand something we do not," another replied. "Perhaps they know the cost of unpreparedness in ways that other species forget." As the alien fleet drew closer, Earth's defenses became more apparent. Satellites that had long been used for communication and observation were repurposed as early warning systems. Advanced drones, previously designed for scientific research, were converted into reconnaissance units capable of tracking the invaders in real time. Humans had a way of turning every tool, every resource, into a defense mechanism without losing efficiency or control dot in the skies above Earth. The first signs of readiness began to appear. Satellites adjusted their orbits to form a protective network. Aircraft were mobilized, not for immediate attack, but to create patterns and signals that would confuse any initial reconnaissance. Naval fleets moved quietly but strategically, taking positions to protect coastlines and ensure communication lines remained open. Humans were creating a network of layered defense, anticipating multiple scenarios at once. What the invaders did not yet realize was that humans were not preparing to fight blindly. Every action was calculated to maximize protection while minimizing unnecessary confrontation. Strategy was not about offense alone. It was about understanding, observation, and control. Scientists calculated gravitational forces, analyzed orbital mechanics, and shared simulations with military strategists. Together, they created a map of potential outcomes, predicting the invaders' moves before they even occurred. Even the general population can contribute in subtle ways. Communities organized neighborhood watch programs, emergency response teams, and communication networks. People learned to read alerts, understand instructions, and assist one another efficiently. Every person became a part of the larger system, contributing to a coordinated effort that no single individual could achieve alone. At the same time, intelligence teams worked to decipher any signals coming from the invaders. There were no detailed messages at first, only brief bursts of communication, but analysts studied every nuance. Patterns in frequency, timing, and structure were recorded and examined. Even small discoveries could provide critical insights into the invaders' intentions, technology, or weaknesses. In control centers, maps of the approaching fleet were updated constantly. The human teams calculated potential strike zones, escape routes, and safe corridors for civilians. They anticipated the unknown, prepared for surprises, and developed multiple backup plans. Unlike many other species, humans were comfortable thinking in layers: one plan, and a second, a third, and even a fourth. In case the first failed. It was not just about technology or numbers. What set humans apart was their ability to combine logic with adaptability. Where many species relied solely on machines or pre-programmed tactics, humans could improvise, respond to unexpected changes, and find solutions in real time. It was this flexibility, coupled with calm determination, that made them particularly dangerous to anyone attempting to underestimate them. As the alien fleet approached the outer edges of the solar system, Earth's preparations began to take visible shape. Defense satellites glimmered like distant stars, forming a shield that was both passive and active. Communication networks glowed with constant activity, coordinating thousands of moving parts in perfect harmony. Humans were ready not just for defense, but for observation, analysis, and precise response. Back in the council chambers, the members watched with increasing concern. Some leaned forward, their expressions grim. Others whispered in disbelief. "They are not just prepared," one member murmured. "They are organized beyond what we expected. They understand risk in a way we do not, another replied. And they are willing to face it with calm determination. That is something few civilizations ever managed to achieve. Even within the invader fleet, the first hints of hesitation began to appear. Pilots and commanders, accustomed to submission from other worlds, began to question their assumptions. Reports of Earth's defenses, the precision of human coordination, and the calm resilience of the population reached higher-ranking officials. They had expected chaos, but instead they found order. This realization began to sow doubt. In the past, doubt had been dangerous for invading forces. It could disrupt timing, decision-making, and morale. Humans, on the other hand, used doubt as an advantage. They anticipated hesitation, confusion, and overconfidence from their opponents, and their plans accounted for it. On Earth, the people were unaware of the full scale of the alien approach. They continued to go about their lives while also contributing to the larger preparation. Children played in yards and parks, adults commuted or worked, and families shared meals. Yet beneath this normalcy, a subtle transformation was happening. People were learning to rely on one another, to cooperate, and to trust in a larger system. It was an instinctual form of training, developing resilience and focus without fear dominating daily life. The day passed in a balance of calm and anticipation. Humans had begun to demonstrate what the galaxy would soon understand, that preparation was as much about unity as it was about technology. The alien fleet might have assumed that fear would scatter the population, that panic would cripple their systems, or that disorganization would leave gaps to exploit. But humanity had no intention of providing such opportunities. By nightfall, Earth's networks of defense and observation were fully operational. Satellites formed a continuous shield, communication channels were secure, and emergency teams were in place in every major city. Humans had prepared for the unknown with precision, determination, and adaptability. In distant observation posts, the Council continued to monitor the situation with growing respect. They had predicted challenges, calculated probabilities, and anticipated resistance, but Earth's response exceeded every expectation. Calm, methodical, and incredibly coordinated humans had turned a potential disaster into a demonstration of resilience. And as the alien fleet drew closer to the solar system, doubt and hesitation began to spread among its ranks. The invaders had expected an easy conquest. They had expected submission, chaos, and fear. Instead, they found preparation, unity, and focus. For the first time in history, it became clear that Earth was not just a minor planet in the galactic hierarchy. It was a world capable of defending itself, capable of adapting in the face of an overwhelming threat, and capable of uniting its people in ways few civilizations could imagine. And yet, the greatest challenge had not even begun. The aliens were near, there. By the third day since the warning first arrived, the approaching fleet had become a constant presence in the outer reaches of the solar system. On Earth, skies remained clear, oceans continued their endless motion, and people went about their daily routines, unaware of the exact scale of the threat above. But behind the scenes, preparations were reaching an intensity unlike anything humanity had ever undertaken. Military command centers were buzzing with controlled activity. Teams worked in shifts, ensuring that every possible scenario had been considered. Even the smallest errors could be catastrophic against a fleet of this magnitude. Every unit, from small reconnaissance drones to orbital defense stations, was accounted for. Analysts ran simulations, recalculating probabilities and predicting enemy behavior at every turn. Humans were not acting out of panic, they were acting with precision, discipline, and a singular focus on survival. The aliens themselves remained distant but active, sending out scouting signals, testing defenses, and making preliminary calculations. They assumed their speed, weaponry, and advanced technology would overwhelm Earth. Their arrogance was evident. After observing countless civilizations crumble under pressure, they believed that humans would be no different. But the humans had a secret strength the invaders could not comprehend. It was not only technology or firepower, it was creativity, adaptability, and unity. When faced with overwhelming odds, humans instinctively coordinated their actions. They learned quickly, responded instantly, and adapted strategies faster than the invaders could predict. Intelligence units monitored communications from the alien fleet, analyzing patterns for weaknesses. Every piece of information was scrutinized for clues about the invaders' intentions. Scientists cross-referenced signals, calculating velocities, projected paths, and energy outputs. Every day, the humans grew more prepared, refining strategies. That combined technology with ingenuity. Communication networks on Earth had become extraordinary systems of coordination. Even in densely populated cities, emergency response teams operated seamlessly, directing citizens, moving resources, and preparing infrastructure. Ordinary people were part of the effort, whether by volunteering in local centers, helping maintain calm, or simply following instructions. Each action contributed to a collective defense that no single person could fully grasp, but everyone participated in. Meanwhile, analysts from the Galactic Council continued observing the situation. They had anticipated confusion, perhaps even panic, as humans faced a fleet unlike any other. But instead, they witnessed order, resilience, and a determination that seemed to grow stronger as the threat loomed closer. They do not panic, one council member said quietly. They adapt. Every action is calculated and precise. They understand more than we realized. They are preparing for more than defense, another replied. They are preparing for the unknown. That is why they are so dangerous. Their thinking is not linear. It is layered, strategic, and flexible. As the alien fleet closed in, Earth's defenses took shape in visible and invisible ways. Satellites adjusted positions, forming overlapping patterns designed to detect and neutralize any attacks. Autonomous drones patrolled the skies, while orbital stations were reinforced to provide early warning and tactical control. Naval and air forces moved strategically, maintaining readiness while avoiding unnecessary exposure. Humans had become masters of coordination. Teams worked together across continents, connecting data from satellites, radar systems, scientific sensors, and military units. Every layer of defense was integrated into a single unified system. Analysts predicted enemy movements, scientists optimized resource allocation, and military units prepared to respond instantly to any threat. But it was not only preparation that defined humanity, it was resilience. Citizens maintained normalcy while contributing to readiness. Children continued schooling, families shared meals, and communities supported one another. In this way, humans strengthened their resolve, building confidence that extended beyond technology and strategy. Psychological preparedness was as critical as physical readiness. Humans understood that fear could be controlled, channeled, and even converted into focus. For the alien fleet, these developments began to sow doubt. What had been assumed to be an easy conquest started to look far more complicated. Their scouts reported precise movements, unexpected defensive formations, and a calm determination in the face of overwhelming danger. Every calculation that had predicted a swift victory now seemed questionable. Within Earth's military command, planners anticipated this uncertainty. They had prepared for overconfidence and miscalculations by the invaders. Backup strategies accounted for deviations in enemy behavior, providing flexibility in response. Humans were ready not just to react, but to predict, adjust, and exploit opportunities that arose from misjudgments. One crucial aspect of humanity's preparation was its focus on protection. While technological defenses were essential, humans, also prioritized the safety of their own population and neighboring civilizations. Evacuation protocols, secure shelters, and resource distribution networks were implemented to ensure that civilians remained safe, even under the most extreme conditions. Unlike many species, humans combined defense with protection in a way that reflected both intelligence and compassion. Scientists continued monitoring the aliens' approach, studying energy signatures, fleet formations, and possible communication methods. Every anomaly was treated as a potential advantage. Humans refined algorithms for interception, optimized energy distribution, and even prepared contingency plans for scenarios that seemed unlikely but possible. They expected the unexpected, and that expectation itself was a form of strength. In cities across Earth, ordinary people contributed to preparation without fully understanding the broader picture. Volunteers helped organize shelters, medical professionals trained for mass response, and citizens followed instructions with discipline. Schools incorporated emergency drills, neighborhoods practiced coordinated responses, and families communicated plans to ensure safety. Each individual action became part of a collective readiness that was greater than the sum of its parts. By the end of the third day, Earth had become a world transformed. From the perspective of space, the planet was calm, but beneath that calm lay a web of preparation unmatched in history. Every technological, strategic, and human resource had been activated and coordinated. Humans had turned every tool, skill, and piece of knowledge into a unified effort to face an incoming threat. The Council continued to observe, increasingly aware that humanity's response was unprecedented. Some members spoke in hushed tones, acknowledging the uniqueness of the situation. "They are not like other species," one said. "They combine intelligence with adaptability and technology with resilience. That combination is rare in the galaxy." The invaders, meanwhile, began receiving conflicting reports from their own forces. Some units reported minimal resistance, while others noted unexpected obstacles, coordinated countermeasures, and rapid adaptation by human defenses. Confusion and hesitation began to spread, undermining confidence in their assumed superiority. Humans, however, remained focused. Coordination extended to unexpected areas: energy management, logistics, psychological readiness, and global communication. Every citizen contributed, whether by volunteering, assisting local communities, or maintaining calm in daily life. This collective effort demonstrated a level of unity that few civilizations ever achieved, even in the face of existential threats. By the third night, Earth had completed a full cycle of preparation. Defense systems were fully operational, civilians were aware and ready, and military and scientific teams had finalized detailed strategies for multiple scenarios. Every aspect of readiness had been tested, adjusted, and reinforced. Observers from the Council and neighboring species could see the results clearly. Humans were not just waiting, they were preparing, anticipating, and calculating. They were organized, resilient, and unified in ways that defied the invaders' expectations. Every potential weakness had been addressed, every possible advantage explored, and yet humanity's greatest strength remained invisible to outsiders: their determination. Humans understood the stakes, and they were willing to face danger together. They were prepared not only with technology or strategy, but with courage, creativity, and unity. This combination, rare and powerful, made them unpredictable and formidable. As the alien fleet neared the edge of the solar system, tension rose across multiple fronts. The invaders were confident but uncertain. The Council watched with cautious awe. And humans on Earth continued to prepare not with fear, but with focused determination, calm intelligence, and an unshakable sense of purpose. The third part of the story ends with a clear truth. Humans were ready for the challenge ahead. Their preparation, Unity and resilience had transformed the ordinary into extraordinary. The galaxy would soon witness what it truly meant to underestimate humanity, and the invaders were about to discover the consequences of their miscalculation. Earth had become a world prepared not only to defend itself, but to redefine what it meant to survive in a galaxy full of uncertainty. And while the first moves of the conflict had yet to unfold, one thing was certain: humanity's strength was not measured in technology alone, but in the coup. The alien fleet had reached the outer edge of Earth's solar system. From their perspective, the planet below seemed small, ordinary, and unremarkable. Their sensors could detect signs of civilization: cities, vehicles, lights, and communication signals, but to them, these were minor obstacles. They had conquered worlds before. They had faced resistance and crushed it. They assumed Earth would be no different. But as their scouts drew closer, the first hints of preparation became visible. Satellites shifted, forming layered defensive arrays that created overlapping zones of detection. Drones previously deployed for observation moved with precision, scanning and recording every movement of the approaching ships. Humans were not waiting to react. They were already observing, analyzing, and countering the invaders' movements before they even occurred. On the ground, military command centers operated like the nerve centers of a living organism. Every piece of information was shared instantly, every decision coordinated across continents. Analysts projected the alien fleet's path, calculated potential attack patterns, and ran countless simulations. Engineers worked to optimize defensive systems, adjusting power outputs and recalibrating weapons to account for new data. Every possible variable was considered, and every contingency was prepared. Ordinary citizens, meanwhile, continued their daily lives, yet they were part of a larger system. Families followed instructions from local authorities. Schools reinforced emergency protocols, and communities organized support networks. Volunteers distributed supplies, maintained communication lines, and ensured that essential services remained uninterrupted. Even the smallest actions contributed to a global effort that was far greater than any one person could imagine. The aliens, confident in their superiority, had assumed that they would encounter fear, chaos, and disorganization. They expected humans to panic under the threat of overwhelming force. But what they found instead was calm, deliberate preparation. Humans were united, focused, and ready. This was unfamiliar territory for the invaders. They had rarely faced a species that could coordinate so effectively under pressure. High above the planet, Earth's orbital defenses became more active. Satellites, once tools for communication and research, now operated as early warning systems and tactical monitors. Automated defense drones created a continuous network of observation and interception, ready to respond to any maneuver by the incoming fleet. Humans had transformed their environment into a living, reactive shield. Communication networks hummed with activity. Analysts and strategists shared information in real time, coordinating with military units on the ground and in the air. Algorithms predicted potential movements of the alien ships, while human operators reviewed and adjusted strategies based on new data. Every action was part of a synchronized effort designed to maximize efficiency and minimize risk. In cities around the world, people adapted to the heightened state of awareness. Schools ran emergency drills, communities organized local response teams, and families reviewed safety protocols. Even ordinary routines were adjusted to support preparedness. Public transportation, energy grids, and medical services were all monitored and reinforced. Humans were not just defending themselves, they were strengthening their entire society against disruption. The Council continued to observe, increasingly impressed. They had expected chaos, hesitation, or fear. Instead, they saw coordination, discipline, and focus. Humans were not simply reacting, They were thinking ahead, anticipating the invaders' actions and preparing to counter them at every step. They are more organized than we imagined, one council member murmured. Every move is calculated, yet flexible. They are ready for the unexpected. They are using intelligence, technology, and people together in a way few civilizations can, another replied. That is why the invaders will find them difficult to overcome. Meanwhile, the alien fleet began to sense resistance. Their initial probes reported unusual activity. Defensive patterns were already in place. Reconnaissance drones were intercepted or disrupted. Signals from Earth indicated coordinated response rather than fear. For the first time, some officers in the alien fleet questioned whether their assumptions had been correct. Back on Earth, preparation had reached a critical phase. Defensive grids were fully operational. Air and naval units were in strategic positions. Civilian coordination had reached unprecedented levels, ensuring that every city, town, and village could maintain order and respond to threats effectively. Humans had anticipated not just direct attacks, but secondary effects such as power disruptions, communication breakdowns, and resource shortages. The alien fleet moved closer, yet humans remained calm. There was no panic in the streets, no mass evacuations, and no chaos. Instead, there was confidence, a quiet, determined focus that reflected the work of countless individuals acting as one. The preparation was not just technological. It was human, social, and psychological. Every person had a role, and every role contributed to the larger effort. Analysts tracked the alien ship's patterns in real time. Every maneuver was recorded, analyzed, and anticipated. Simulations ran continuously, testing strategies and predicting possible outcomes. Military leaders reviewed options, prepared contingencies, and coordinated responses across multiple theaters of potential conflict. Every action was measured, every possibility considered. On the ground, communities supported one another. Volunteers assisted emergency services, distributed supplies, and maintained communication channels. Citizens practiced drills, reinforced buildings, and helped maintain calm among neighbors. Humans were using their unique ability to cooperate, communicate, and adapt to turn preparation into a strength that could rival even the most advanced alien technology. The invaders, observing from afar, began to doubt their assumptions. Their initial confidence was shaken by reports of organized resistance and sophisticated defenses. Some commanders questioned whether they had underestimated Earth. Confusion began to spread, undermining morale and decision-making. The first cracks appeared in what had been considered an unstoppable fleet. High above, satellites continued to monitor the alien approach. Automated drones were ready to intercept, observe, or relay information. Defense grids adjusted dynamically, ensuring coverage over critical areas. Humans were using technology not as a weapon alone, but as a tool to maintain awareness, coordination, and strategic advantage. Even the psychological aspect of preparation played a critical role. Humans remained calm and focused despite the looming threat. Fear was acknowledged, but controlled, channeled into action rather than panic. Communities reinforced social bonds, communication networks strengthened trust, and citizens supported one another. Every action contributed to a culture of resilience and determination. By the end of the fourth day, Earth's readiness had reached a level that few civilizations could match. The planet was quiet on the surface, yet beneath that calm, a network of preparation stretched across the globe. Satellites, drones, military units, and citizens were all working in harmony. Humans had transformed their ordinary world into a complex system capable of responding to one of the greatest threats imaginable. The Council observed in awe. They are not just defending themselves, one member said. They are creating a system that adapts, predicts, and responds with precision. That is extraordinary. The aliens, meanwhile, faced increasing uncertainty. Their initial strategy had relied on assumptions of fear and chaos. Those assumptions had been proven wrong. Humans were not only prepared, they were proactive, anticipating moves and countering threats before they even occurred. Doubt and hesitation spread among the alien fleet, creating the first opportunity for Earth to seize control of the situation. On Earth, preparation continued. Analysts refined predictions, strategists updated plans, and citizens maintained their roles. Communities practiced coordination, shared information, and reinforced safety measures. Humans had turned readiness into a collective skill, combining technology, planning, and social cohesion in a way that made them unpredictable and formidable. The day ended with a clear truth. Humans were not passive targets. They were active, participants in shaping their own defense. Every action, from military maneuvers to community coordination, contributed to a system greater than the sum of its parts. The aliens may have expected easy conquest, but they would find that humans were ready, unified, and determined. As night fell, Earth's people rested with awareness. They were calm yet prepared. Their cities, skies, and communities were interconnected in a network of observation, communication, and strategy. Humans had created a system that combined intelligence, technology, and cooperation to face an unprecedented challenge. From the perspective of space, Earth appeared peaceful, ordinary, and calm. But in reality, the planet had become a fortress of preparation, a testament to human ingenuity, unity, and resilience. The alien fleet was approaching, yet they had yet to understand the true strength of the species they sought to conquer. And so, as Part 4 ends, the stage is set for the confrontation to come. Humans have prepared, adapted, and organized on a scale never seen before. They remain calm but vigilant, aware of the threat but undeterred by fear. The galaxy watches as Earth demonstrates that strength is not measured solely by weapons, but by courage, unity, and the unwavering. The alien fleet had finally arrived at the outskirts orbit. From a distance, the planet looked serene blue oceans, green land, and clouds drifting lazily in the sunlight. But this calm was deceptive. Humanity had transformed the planet into a silent fortress, prepared for the confrontation that was about to unfold. From space, the invaders could detect the layers of defense surrounding the planet. Satellites formed overlapping grids, drones patrolled at various altitudes, and orbital stations were ready to coordinate responses instantly. Yet what unsettled the aliens most was not technology alone. It was the human calm, the deliberate precision in every move, and the sense of purpose that radiated from the planet below. Inside military command centers, teams monitored every approach vector of the incoming fleet. Analysts compared real-time data with simulations, adjusting calculations for speed, trajectory, and potential attack strategies. The goal was clear: anticipate the enemy, protect civilians, and maintain full control over the unfolding events. On Earth's surface, cities remained functional. People moved about their routines, schools continued, and businesses operated, all while knowing the danger was near. This balance between normalcy and preparation was a critical part of humanity's strength. It prevented panic, maintained morale, and allowed citizens to contribute effectively to the global response. Communication networks buzzed with constant activity. Military units, emergency services, scientists, and analysts shared information in real time. Every signal from the alien fleet was intercepted, decoded, and analyzed. Strategists predicted the enemy's likely targets, potential attack angles, and weaknesses. These predictions were then communicated to field units and defense systems, creating a dynamic, responsive network. High above, satellites adjusted positions, ensuring full coverage of the orbital approach. Automated drones were ready to intercept. or relay information instantly. The integration of technology and human oversight created a system that was both intelligent and adaptable. Humans could react to unexpected events while maintaining a clear view of the overall situation. For the aliens, this was disorienting. They had expected chaos, confusion, and fear. Instead, they faced coordination, strategy, and human ingenuity. Reports from their scouts were conflicting. Some suggested minimal resistance, while others noted organized patterns, active defenses, and unpredictable countermeasures. Hesitation began to spread among their ranks, the first cracks in what had been considered an unstoppable force. On Earth, preparation had reached a peak. Civilian coordination ensured that evacuation plans, resource distribution, and medical readiness were in place. Communities supported one another. Volunteers assisted emergency services, and families maintained calm while reviewing safety protocols. Every person played a part in the larger system, contributing to the overall resilience of the planet. The first communication from the invaders reached Earth. It was formal, precise, and laced with arrogance. They demanded compliance, assuming submission, as they had with countless other civilizations. But Earth responded not with fear, but with a clear, concise message. Humanity would not surrender. This response surprised the aliens. They had assumed that intimidation and advanced technology would lead to immediate compliance. They had not accounted for the human ability to unite, adapt, and resist with precision. Their expectations of chaos had been proven wrong. As the alien fleet moved closer, Earth's defenses became visible in action. Drones adjusted their positions dynamically, satellites relayed updated threat data, and orbital stations coordinated responses to potential attacks. Human strategy was proactive. Instead of merely reacting, they anticipated movements, set traps, and prepared countermeasures. In cities below, people remained focused and calm. Emergency services were ready, communications maintained, and civilians prepared for potential disruptions. Schools, hospitals, and critical infrastructure operated smoothly, demonstrating the effectiveness of the preparation that had taken place over several days. Every action was coordinated, precise, and intentional. Military units deployed in stages, ensuring that they were in positions to protect key areas without creating unnecessary exposure. Naval forces maintained a defensive posture, covering coastlines and key ports. Air units patrolled skies and monitored potential attack routes. All units communicated seamlessly, integrating with orbital defenses to create a unified, responsive system. The invaders, meanwhile, began to encounter unexpected resistance. Their initial probes were intercepted or disrupted. Signals from Earth demonstrated advanced planning and coordination. These obstacles were minor individually, but significant collectively. They revealed the depth of preparation and the level of adaptability that humans had achieved. Within the alien fleet, doubt began to grow. Commanders questioned whether their initial plans had underestimated Earth's capacity for defense. Reports from different units conflicted, further complicating decision-making. Hesitation and uncertainty began to spread, weakening the cohesion of the invading forces. Back on Earth, analysts continued to refine predictions and adjust strategies. Every movement of the alien fleet was tracked, every anomaly noted, and potential outcomes simulated. Contingency plans covered multiple scenarios, from minor skirmishes to large-scale engagements. Humans were prepared not only to defend, but also to exploit opportunities created by enemy mistakes. Even the smallest contributions mattered. Volunteers in cities assisted in coordination, ensured smooth operation of local networks, and helped maintain morale. Citizens followed instructions efficiently, demonstrating discipline and awareness. The combined effect of individual actions contributed to a level of organization that the aliens could not Anticipate dot as the first potential. Conflict points were identified. Earth's defenses were ready to respond. Satellites could detect incoming threats and relay targeting information to orbital drones. Ground-based systems were prepared to intercept or neutralize potential hazards. Air and naval units were in position to respond to any maneuver. Humans had created a layered defense, ensuring that any attack could be countered quickly and effectively. The aliens began to realize that their expectations had been flawed. They had assumed fear and disorganization would dominate Earth's response. Instead, they found intelligence, coordination, and adaptability. Their confidence wavered as hesitation spread among their ranks. They were encountering a species that refused to be predictable, one that could adapt to new threats in real time. On Earth, people remained calm, focused, and determined. They were aware of the danger, yet fear did not control their actions. Families maintained routines while remaining vigilant. Communities supported one another, creating a network of social cohesion that strengthened the overall response. Humans had turned preparation into a skill, combining technology, strategy, and social organization in a way that made them formidable opponents. High above, satellites and drones continued to monitor the approaching fleet. Defense systems adjusted dynamically, ensuring full coverage and rapid response. Military units coordinated actions across continents, integrating real-time data into their strategies. Analysts simulated countless scenarios, preparing responses. For unexpected developments, the invaders, now confronted with evidence of human preparedness, began to question their assumptions. Their initial belief in an easy conquest was challenged by the visible organization, adaptability, and resilience of Earth's population. Hesitation spread through the fleet, affecting decision-making and cohesion. Humans, however, remained proactive. They anticipated mistakes, prepared countermeasures, and maintained constant communication. Every action, from individual contributions to global strategies, reinforced the collective strength of the planet. The result was a system that was intelligent, adaptive, and resilient, a combination the aliens had not expected. As the alien fleet drew closer to Earth, the first signs of engagement began. While no major conflict had yet occurred, minor skirmishes and probing attacks were intercepted efficiently. Humans responded not with panic, but with precision and calm strategy. Their coordinated actions disrupted the invaders' plans, forcing them to reconsider every maneuver. By the end of the 5th day, Earth had demonstrated its strength, not only through technology, but through the unity and resilience of its people. Humans had prepared for the unexpected, coordinated on a global scale, and maintained calm under pressure. The planet was ready to face the incoming fleet, and the aliens had begun to understand that underestimating Earth was a grave mistake. The stage was now set for the next phase, the direct confrontation that would reveal the true extent of human capability. Every citizen, every unit, and every system was ready. The invaders had begun to hesitate, their confidence shaken by the coordinated response of the species they assumed would surrender. And while the first skirmishes had already tested their preparedness, humans remained calm, focused, and determined. The story of Earth's resistance was becoming clear. It was not technology alone that made them formidable, but their courage, unity, and unwavering determination to protect their planet and each other. In the coming moments, the galaxy would witness humanity at its most extraordinary. The invaders had assumed superiority, but they were about to learn that Earth was not a world to be conquered. The day of confrontation had arrived. The alien fleet, massive and imposing, hovered just beyond Earth's atmosphere. From space, the ships seemed like dark shadows against the sunlit planet below. Their presence was a reminder of the stakes, a warning of the power they wielded. But Earth was ready. Humans had prepared for every eventuality. And now all that preparation would be tested in command centers across the world. Teams worked in perfect coordination. Analysts monitored the fleet's movements, adjusting predictions based on real-time data. Satellites relayed information about potential weak points and threat patterns. Drones, both in orbit and in the atmosphere, moved with precision, tracking enemy maneuvers and providing continuous updates. Every human action was part of the synchronized effort to protect the planet. On the ground, people remained calm. Cities continued their routines as much as possible. Emergency services were fully operational, and communities maintained networks of support. Families ensured children were safe, and volunteers helped coordinate resources. Humans were not acting out of fear, they were acting with purpose. Every individual contribution, no matter how small, strengthened the collective defense. The alien fleet began its first maneuvers. Ships moved forward in formations, meant to intimidate and overwhelm. Yet every movement was met with anticipation. Earth systems detected their approach, and defensive measures activated instantly. Automated drones intercepted scouting probes, while satellites relayed positions to command centers. Human forces anticipated attacks, adjusting strategies on the fly to counter potential threats. The first exchange was cautious. The aliens tested Earth's defenses with small, targeted movements. Missiles and energy-based probes were deployed to gauge response, but humans had prepared for this. Countermeasures activated immediately, neutralizing threats before they could reach key areas. Observers from the Council watched in awe as Earth's defense systems responded with intelligence, precision, and adaptability. In cities, people witnessed minor disruptions but remained composed. Power fluctuations and temporary communication interference were managed efficiently by trained teams. Emergency services ensured no civilian harm occurred. Human resilience and preparation allowed daily life to continue. Even as the first signs of battle appeared in orbit, military units deployed in coordinated patterns, covering key regions without overexposing themselves. Air forces created dynamic patrol zones, while naval units monitored coastal areas and strategic points. Ground-based missile systems, energy shields, and radar arrays were all active, creating overlapping layers of protection. The humans were not just defending, they were controlling the battlefield. The aliens attempted to exploit perceived weaknesses, but humans were always a step ahead. Analysts identified potential vulnerabilities in enemy formations and relayed this information to commanders in real time. Units responded immediately, adjusting positions and activating countermeasures. Humans used intelligence, adaptability, and creativity to turn every threat into an opportunity. Above all, Earth's strength was unity. Every person contributed in some way. Volunteers managed logistics, communities reinforced morale, and individuals followed instructions with discipline. This collective coordination allowed humans to respond efficiently to threats while maintaining normalcy on the surface. Fear existed, but it was channeled into focus, strategy, and preparation. The alien fleet grew more aggressive, realizing that their initial tactics had failed. Larger ships moved forward, intending to overwhelm Earth's defenses. Yet the humans were ready. Satellites and drones provided continuous monitoring, predicting enemy maneuvers before they occurred. Orbital defense systems activated, intercepting hostile projectiles and tracking ship movements with precision. Every step of the fleet was met with calculated response. In command centers, analysts and strategists worked tirelessly. Simulations ran in real time, predicting outcomes and adjusting strategies accordingly. Communication networks ensured that every unit, from orbiting drones to ground-based teams, acted in harmony. Humans were creating a web of defense that was both intelligent and flexible, capable of responding to unexpected developments instantly. On the ground, civilians remained calm, aware that preparation and unity were their strongest assets. Schools, workplaces, and neighborhoods functioned as extensions of the larger system. Families supported one another. Communities reinforced emergency protocols, and volunteers maintained communication and resource distribution. Every action contributed to the broader effort, demonstrating human resilience in the face of unprecedented danger. The aliens, however, began to feel the weight of resistance. Their initial confidence had been based on assumptions of fear and disorder, but humans defied those expectations. Reports of intercepted probes, neutralized attacks, and coordinated responses caused hesitation and confusion within their ranks. Doubt spread among commanders, undermining their cohesion and strategy. Earth's forces seized the opportunity. Coordinated maneuvers disrupted alien formations, forcing them to adjust constantly. Orbital drones relayed intelligence to ground units, enabling precise counteractions. Air and naval units responded to changing conditions with remarkable flexibility. The humans were not simply reacting, they were dictating the flow of engagement. Even the smallest contributions mattered. Volunteers ensured essential services operated smoothly. Civilians maintained communication networks, and communities provided support where needed. This social cohesion, combined with technological readiness, created an environment in which fear had little influence. Humans acted collectively, with focus and determination, turning the planet itself into a fortress of resilience. As the conflict escalated, the alien fleet attempted a coordinated strike on several key points. But humans anticipated this. Predictive models had calculated possible attack vectors, and countermeasures were already in place. Missiles were intercepted, energy pulses neutralized, and drone swarms disrupted the coordination of the enemy ships. The aliens had underestimated human foresight and adaptability. Observers from the Galactic Council recorded every detail. The calm, precise, and coordinated response of humans exceeded their expectations. It was not just the technology, it was the unity, intelligence, and courage of an entire species acting in harmony. Few civilizations could maintain such order under pressure, and the Council recognized that Earth had achieved something extraordinary. Despite the aliens' power and advanced technology, they began to falter. Their initial arrogance turned to hesitation. Every attempt to gain advantage was countered with precision. Human forces adapted dynamically, using creativity and flexibility to turn potential threats into opportunities for control. On Earth, people continued their routines, adjusted where necessary, and contributed in small but meaningful ways. Civilians maintained calm. Volunteers ensured the flow of resources, and emergency teams coordinated operations with extraordinary efficiency. Humans had transformed preparation into an art, blending technology, strategy, and social coordination seamlessly. The alien fleet, frustrated and confused, attempted one final large-scale offensive. Ships moved in concentrated formations, aiming to break Earth's defenses with overwhelming force. But humans were ready. Layers of defense activated simultaneously: orbital drones, satellites, ground-based systems, and coordinated air and naval units created a network of response that could not be easily penetrated. The first waves of attack were neutralized efficiently. Enemy ships were disrupted, projectiles intercepted, and communications scrambled. Analysts monitored every movement, predicting and countering new maneuvers. Humans were proving that intelligence, unity, and adaptability could overcome even the most advanced technology. As the confrontation continued, the aliens began to retreat. Their confidence shattered, their strategy disrupted, and their fleet suffering losses. They realized they had underestimated Earth. The humans had turned every challenge into an opportunity, and their unity, preparation, and resilience had created a level of resistance the invaders could not overcome. On the planet, people watched the skies with a mix of awe and relief. Though many did not understand the full scale of the battle above, they knew that their preparation, discipline, and cooperation had made a difference. Communities celebrated quietly, recognizing the strength of unity and collective effort. Council, observing from afar, marveled. Humans had done what few civilizations could. They had faced an overwhelming threat with calm, intelligence, and courage, and had emerged victorious through preparation, strategy, and unity. Earth had proven that a species could defend itself not merely through weapons, but through collaboration, foresight, and resilience. As the alien fleet withdrew into the depths of space, humans began to assess the aftermath. Satellites and drones continued to monitor the skies for any remaining threats. Military units returned to strategic positions, maintaining readiness in case the invaders returned. Scientists and analysts studied the engagement, learning from every action and reaction. The greatest victory, however, was not measured in destroyed ships or intercepted attacks. It was measured in unity, courage, and determination. Humans had faced an existential threat, remained calm, coordinated flawlessly, and demonstrated the strength of their species in the most